Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post week 2 power rankings, the official power rankings for the NPA LRL. There was a lot of action over the weekend, so we are going to jump right into it. Coming in at number 12, we have the Slinging Slashers. They're moving down, and there's not much we can really say about this team. As you can see, they had no games played because everyone on their team's a bum. So we're just going to move on. So number 11, we have the Blazers. They are also moving down. Their week 1 result was a loss to the Average Joes, and their week 2 result was a win via forfeit. Some key stats were Sean with 28 points on 43 shots in the first game, and they were minus 14 in net rebounding, and they shot 25% from the field. Uh, with this team, clearly Sean can score inefficiently, but he can get the ball in the basket eventually. He just has no help alongside him. Both his teammates combining for 11 points, and if they continue to do that, you will be able to find them at the bottom of this list every single week. Next up, we have the Jackboys coming in at number 10. They are moving down. They have a loss to Major Bag Alert and a loss to Team ATM. They are minus 12 in net rebounding, and they are last in points, rebounds, blocks, and steals per game. And their big man Chris missed both games. Yes, they had two big losses to two of the better teams in this league, but the biggest stat of them all on this screen is that Chris missed both of those games. Without Chris, this team will have no success. Clearly, Montoya and Colin cannot get it done. They're going to either have to find a better sub to help them try and climb the leaderboards, or they can just continue to drop games. Number 9, we have Alphabet Hoop. They are also moving down. They lost to Team ATM and they lost to Reggie Cards Part 2. They are plus 6.5 in net rebounding, and they shot a brutal 18.8% from 3, and they were 26.5% from the entire field. This team, I feel like this team has so much potential. The ceiling for this team is so high, but the floor for this team is so low. Uh, Overall, a great defensive team. They should have been a good scoring team, but their shooting percentages are in the shitter. They have to find an answer for their play, and that's all I really have to say about them. Number 8, we have Inexperience. They're moving down. They lost to Mufat and they beat Major Bag Alert. They shot 42.2% from 3 and 42% from the field. They had 9.5 3-pointers made per game, and they were minus 11 in net rebounding. I know when all you guys are probably thinking, oh, they beat Major Bag Alert. I don't care. Their sub carried them both games. Both games, the sub led them in scoring. And that means that the two real players on the team, they're not getting it done. And guess what? Ronnie ain't dropping 26. So that's why I have them at number 8. When they get their original team, the team that they drafted, then I'll be able to determine how I really feel about them. Moving on. Number 7, Reggie Cart's Part 2. They're moving up. They lost to Big Meat and they beat Alphabet Hoop. Tyler, 25 points per game, 13 rebounds per game. They are first in opponent 2 and 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, and Dylan missed both games. Tyler is really he's proving himself to be the MVP candidate that everyone believes that he can be, and he's going to be able to carry this team to maybe even the promised land. The biggest stat for this team might be Dylan missing both of the games. Has that helped them out? They lost to Big Meat, which is that's a very tough team, but is Dylan missing games going to help them win more games? We'll have to see. Number 6, we have the 93-94 White Sox. They are moving down, and another team that we can't really talk about much because they have no games played. So they're 1-1. The reason I still have them at number 6 is because Nick Hamilton plays for this team, arguably the GOAT of the LRL. So they're going to sit at the number 6 spot. Number 5, with no movement throughout the power rankings, we have the Average Joes. They beat the Blazers and lost to Mufat. Michael with 29 points per game and 32 three-point percentage. Luke 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game. They are 47% shooting from 2 and 36% or 34% shooting from 3. Michael, who's leading this team in scoring, is he a dark horse for MVP? He's a Finals MVP. He's proven to the league that he can score. He's one of the many 3-point shooters in this league. And Luke, you know what he's going to bring to the table. He's a grit player. Um, the reigning champs, they're sitting pretty right now. I think at 1-1. I think they're going to have a strong shot for one of the lower seeds in the playoffs. Number 4, we have Mufat, the biggest risers in the power rankings. They beat inexperienced and beat the reigning champs. Some key stats: they have 7 steals a game, which leads the league, 34.6% shooting from 3, and 37.3% field goal percentage. And when I thought this team was going to have trouble defending the ball, they didn't. David and Tony really distributed the ball well between each other, and they put the ball in the basket efficiently, as you can see, shooting 34 and 37%. And I think this team's a real shocker. Do I think they can keep it up? I don't know. They still have to play some really tough teams in during the regular season, so we're gonna have to see. This is definitely a team to watch. Number 3, we have Major Bag Alert. They're moving down. They beat the Jackboys and lost to Inexperienced. 12.5 assists per game, which leads the league. 16 opponent rebounds per game, which leads the league. And they shot 44.9% from 2, which leads the league, and 40.7% from 3, which is third in the league. And even though this team dropped their opening day game, I I don't care. This is still one of my favorites to win the finals. I still think they're an 8 or 9 win team. This team has a lot of success in front of them, which is why I still got them at the top of this power rankings. Number 2, we got Big Meat. They're moving on up. They beat the Reggie Carts and won via forfeit. Lath with 26 points and 36 rebounds on 59% field goal shooting, which is that's an absolute stat line right there. Noah with 17 points on 43 shots. Live and die by it, I guess. And they were first in rebounding and net rebounding, which I'm sure you could have guessed because Lath is he's a god on the boards. This is another team who is a huge favorite in the finals. As you can see, Lath is going to dominate, shooting almost 60%. And I guess Noah, he was really feeling himself, shooting 43 shots. That's close to a record. But this team's moving up. I like this team a lot. We got them at number 2. Number 1, once again, sitting at number 1, we got Team ATM. They beat Alphabet Hoop and beat the Jackboys. 40% from 3, which leads the league. 42% from the field, which is tied for first. 8.5 threes made, which is second. And 7 assists per game, which is fourth. I think this is the team to beat this year. Clearly, they showed throughout the first 2 games they've got what it takes to be the Season 3 LRL champs. Do I think they'll be able to keep it up? Yes, I do. We got a tough team on our hands. And that's going to wrap it up for the post 2 week power rankings.